My name is Jim Brain. I represent Retro Innovations. Many of you know me. Thank you. I got my peanut gallery out there. That's right. My demonstration is going to be short and sweet, hopefully, today. I did want to follow up, since Leaf had his demonstration on the VIC, I wanted to start off with talking about one of the items that he had listed on his must-have, what was the page called? Must-have accessories. So I was going to show this to you. This is what happens when you're a designer and you're rushed, when you decide to hurry up and try to get something in production. So I've been working on it for quite a while, and I have, for those of you who know, I have an expander version for the 64, and this is an expander for the VIC-20. So, see, and it looks just great. My problem is, and if Leaf can come in here, I'll show you, I have him be my, what do you call it, my model? No. There, hold that. And then try to put this cartridge in it. That's right. So, see the problem? Anybody see the problem? Yeah. So, I have a new, unfortunately, I was so sure, I had such a good track record of just shipping these things off to be done. I had 100 of them made. So I have 100 of them that are wrong. So I have the new revised board that slides the switches out a little bit further so that they will work. And I have the company manufacturing me some more printed circuit boards right now. So I'm going to get one of the unassembled printed circuit boards. I'm going to assemble it, make sure it all works, make sure these cartridges will actually fit this time, and then I'll put it in production. So I should have them momentarily. So they should be available first quarter of 2013. So there you go. I knew you would. And it's good. He's been bugging me, so I'm going to get it done. But that was the thing. It was last year, and I was like, I'll get this in production, because that way Leaf will quit harping at me. And no, it's not your fault. Yes?
What are you doing with the weirdo ones?
The what?
What are you doing with the ones with the switch? Are you going to sell those cheap?
Well, you know what? I had actually a question about that. Somebody's like, well, I could put the switches on the bottom. You know what? Let's talk. I can ship out the ones that, if you put the switches on the bottom, like if you take the switches and unsolder them from the top and switch them around and put them on the bottom, it'll work, right? But it does require a little bit of work. So, send me an email or whatnot. I'm happy to ship them out. I don't have a problem with it. It's just a matter of, this isn't something that somebody can just plug into the back of their VIC and start using, right? So it takes a little bit of effort, and I don't know how easy or hard it is to take the switches off. So, but I don't have a problem selling them. In fact, I'd love to get rid of 100 of them, because I didn't really want 100 of them sitting in my house that have no apparent usage. Yes?
This may be a dumb question, but why would you plug more than one module in? Aren't these ROM modules each independent?
Contraire. Leaf would probably have a better answer to that question, but I know for a fact that you could plug in like a RAM expander, but then you also might want like a Masquerade cartridge, which I sell, and then put the NIC on there. So that would give you expansion. That would give you the additional RAM plus the network card, right? So that'd be two slots that you would need, and then might be other options.
Oh, well, just because the VIC is divided into 8 memory blocks, so as long as the cartridges don't conflict, they can all be plugged in at the same time.
There you go. There you go. So I think there is some utility to it, and there's been a lot of people that have wanted them. So it's a matter of just, if Jim can get his rear end in gear and make sure that it'll actually work when it gets back from the factory, then I'll put them on the website and sell them. Okay, so for the rest of my demonstration, obviously many of you know that for a number of years Jiffy DOS was unavailable, and so I worked very diligently, and it took me a couple years, and I finally got an ability to sell Jiffy DOS on, it previously had been done by Click Your Software, and Click Your Software hadn't been producing the units for a number of years, and so I went back to the source. At this point is Mark Fellows, who is the designer of a lot of the Jiffy DOS code, and also did like the super CPU and whatnot, and negotiated a license to do all the Jiffy DOS ROMs. So obviously Jiffy DOS 64 right here, and Leaf, if you could come up for 1 second, I need you, well, or someone else. Should I pick another person from the audience? Anyone? Anyone? No, nobody, so you gotta come. So, the problem is that there were a couple Jiffy DOS ROMs that were unavailable to me. And so today I wanted to make a big announcement that I now have, and I will tell you the story about how this came to be, but I now have the ability to offer to the public, open the case there, Jiffy DOS for the VIC-20. So there it is, you can show it to people. And Jiffy DOS for the +4. Yeah. There we go. Do I have a third person? I have one more machine here. Who can come up and show me the C16? Yeah. So there we go. You can open it up. I've got it all taken apart. Just flip it up there. There we go. There we go. So there we go. 3 machines I can now add. So now I have all the Jiffy DOS ROMs available, or be shortly available in the store. And then I'll tell you the story of how they came to be. So you guys can take your pictures here. You guys have your pictures, and then I'm going to let my illustrious models go back to their seats. So, okay. Cool. Everyone got it? We're good. Okay, thank you very much. So, I'm going to spend just a few minutes telling you about how this came to be. Again, like I said, it's not going to be a large presentation, but it has taken a lot of time in order to do this. As you're aware, Click Here Software was offering Jiffy DOS for a while and then ceased to be offering them. Initially, when I talked to Mark Fellows, who then owned the rights to Jiffy DOS, whoops, I realized I just put that in front of the unit right there. So I talked to him for a couple of years. This was in the early, probably 2005, 6, 7 timeframe. He said he had an exclusive relationship with Click Here, and so eventually I was able to say, you know, there's nobody producing these, they're being pirated online, and so he said, well, that license is probably lapsed by now, so I can renegotiate and license. I said, okay, and I'd also like to get the Jiffy DOS for the VIC and the +4, and he said, well, we didn't create those. CMD did not create Jiffy DOS for the VIC or the +4. Those were created evidently by Morris Randall himself. He ported Jiffy DOS to those platforms. So then after I started selling the units with Jiffy DOS 64 and the drive code and whatnot, I contacted Morris. This was probably in 2008 or so, 2008 or 2000, must have been 2009, and said, hey, I'd like to get a copy. I'd like to be able to license this. And at the time, he said, no, I'm not interested. And as with many things, you know, he has the rights to that. I can't offer those for sale because any of the code that's been ported is technically copyright him, Click Your Software. So I continued about every 6 months or so. I'd send an email and say, hey, you interested? I've got some people. And I started to see an influx. And this is just to show you all that you all sending me emails helped out, because I had about 5 or 6 people send me emails over the past 3 or 4 months saying, do you have Jiffy DOS for the VIC? Do you have Jiffy DOS for the VIC? And so I batched all those emails up. I sent them to Morris and I said, there is a demand here for Jiffy DOS for the VIC. And so I really would like an opportunity to offer that. And so here, just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I sent those off, and I was expecting another, sorry, I'm not ready. This time he said, you sure anybody's interested? I'm like, yeah, I have people interested. I send you the emails. Obviously, they're very interested in purchasing a legitimate copy of Jiffy DOS for the VIC-20. And he said, well, if you think it's still useful, I'll license it one-time cost. So I have a perpetual license to offer those particular units, both for the +4, the C16, and the VIC. So for those people who were asking me earlier in the day, that would be Paul Quirk. Where is he? Yeah, I couldn't tell you because I had to wait. And Robin, who was about stealing my thunder at breakfast this morning. Well, you got Jiffy DOS. Maybe you should ask Morris if he could just offer Jiffy DOS for you. Well, I did. So I'm going to continue to work on and send another email right after to say, hey, I'll buy the rest of the stuff too, but he's not ready to do that yet. So we'll continue to see if there's an opportunity to bring more of the CMD products online. But obviously these aren't brand new. People know about them, whatnot, but at least now legitimately you can get them for sale. And I'm going to put the microphone down and I'll plug in the VIC-20 and the +4 version so you can see them, kind of get an idea of what the opening screens for those of you who've never seen an opening screen with Jiffy DOS on them. So here, I'm going to be a second. There we go. There you go. Now, you have, somebody here, do you have a copy of Jiffy DOS and your Vic?
I do.
Okay, so you got a copy of the beta, right? You guys were on the beta, okay, so you guys, this is old hat for you, right? But, so you got Jiffy DOS, and there's the same thing, of course, you got the big blocky characters and whatnot. I assume that looks familiar to you. Okay. And then I'm going to plug the +4 in, but I don't have the, I could show you the intro screen for the, actually I'll do the C16. I'll show the intro screen for it, but I don't think I have the right cables to plug in the IEC onto the +4. Now I'm going to have to start making sure that I have all the stuff there since we have Jiffy DOS. But in any event, so that's what it looks like on the VIC, and then I'll show you the C16 version.
Oops, that's not going to work.
I've got the cable here, right here. There you go, 12K of glory. 601, 1989 CMD. So, maybe a little bit anticlimactic, but that's my big announcement for the day. I guess if there's any questions, forgot to ask if there's any questions. Yes.
I guess it's more a micro IEC question technically, but now that the world of the micro IEC is wide open to TED enthusiasts, what is the best way to power one?
Right now, the deluxe daughter card has the ability for you to use a phone, like a 5-volt phone charger with a mini USB connector. And that's what I'm recommending. Huh?
Isn't it micro USB?
No, it's mini
It is
USB.
mini?
Mini, yes. Mini USB. So I would recommend that. You can still plug it from support the cassette port, but I mean, it can draw power from the cassette. Well, yeah, right, on the +4. But I created the USB connector on the deluxe daughter card specifically so that you could power it from any, like you just buy your $1.99 cheapo phone charger from Walmart or whatever, and that'll power it. So that would be my recommendation. Yes?
The +4 version, is that fully compatible with all the other Jiffy DOS ROMs with drives and everything?
Yes, yes it is. Yes it is. Yeah.
Do you have any +4 chips today?
I can make them today. I do not have any in, I manufacture them on demand at times, so I can manufacture them. So if you wanted
What's the
+4,
cost?
same cost. Same, so $20 for the any one of the 3 units, +4, C16, or VIC.
Are they socketed in the +4?
Mine was, so you can come up and look, but now the C16, now all the +4s I have sockets on them, so that's good. The C16s, I had 3 of them and only one of them had sockets, so your mileage may vary there. Yes?
On the 64, the Jiffy DOS, they use some of the tape routine areas to put the code in there. Do you know what code is missing out of the...
The tape routines will be gone in the other units as well, so you won't have access to the tape from, like on the C16, there's no tape, but the +4, you won't have access to tape routines when Jiffy DOS is enabled. Not such a big deal on the C16, but obviously on the +4, that's an issue. Yes?
On the +4 version, how is use of Jiffy DOS affected when using the 1551 drive?
That's something I have not tested. I have a 1551, but since I just got the rights to do this, I haven't done the testing with the 51. So that's a good question, and I don't have an answer for that yet. I know there was extensive testing done, so I'm assuming that it works okay, but I'll have to, before I can definitively answer, I'll have to pull out my 51 and try it.
But there isn't much point, I guess, in making a 1551 chip to go to have the...
No, but now the Jiffy DOS, the routines like, a list routine and the print to printer and stuff like that, for those things, if you use those things and the copy routines that are in Jiffy DOS, those will work.
Yeah.
Those would still be useful with the 1551, but yeah, having a 1551 ROM for the, a Jiffy DOS ROM for the 1551, I don't know of one, and I don't know that there would be any real demand. First of all, the 1551 is pretty rare to begin with, and second of all, it's already a parallel type drive, so it operates pretty quickly as it is. Yeah?
The +4 version is possible to mount a switch like the 64 has to switch between the Jiffy DOS and the normal kernel?
Yes, the units that I have here, when you took pictures of them, or when you saw them, they don't have switches on them, but the production units will have switches. I just didn't put them on there because I didn't want them dangling out the back so people would see that they have Jiffy DOS on them before I was able to show them today. But they will have switches as well. Every one of the Jiffy DOS chips or ROM overlays that are for a computer will have a switch on it, so that you can switch it completely out if necessary. Any other questions? Yeah.
I noticed that on the VIC one, you had the function keys mapped to do, I guess, convenient commands, right? After you type run, does that mapping go away to maintain compatibility like with the basic program? Or?
Yeah, the mapping's only in direct mode. So
Only
it's
in direct mode,
yeah, it's just like the 64. So you could still have access to the keys, so those function keys when you're running the program. And you can turn that off if you need it. Now, I know that's going to bring up a question about, the +4 and C16 already have mapped keys. And I believe there's a way to enable the old, the Jiffy DOS ones, but I'll have to get the information on that. Because by default, when you boot up a +4 or whatever, the function keys already have functionality built into them. And those stay with, that functionality does not change when you initially bring up Jiffy DOS. It still has whatever the +4 normally has on F1, F3, F5, and so forth. So I'm still learning about them. I got the permission and took care of the financial part of it, like I said, about a week and a half ago. And so I thought this would be a great time to make the announcement, but unfortunately I haven't went through all of the information, figuring out everything that I need to know about the unit, so that'll be over the next few weeks or so. But I am confident that they work well, and I know they had an extensive beta testing program for both the +4 and the VIC version. The C16 one I just tried out because they use the same kernel ROM, so I wanted to make sure that it would work on both. But I need to spend some more time kind of going through, and I'm more familiar with the 64 and the 128 versions of Jiffy DOS, obviously, so I need to kind of get up to speed on all the little nuances of these. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay. I'll be available, obviously, all day, and I can produce the ROMs if you wish to buy them. If you don't, that's fine too. But anyway, they aren't any made up, so I'll have to make them up for everybody. So you guys can let me know, and then come back when I've got them done for you. That'll probably be the best option. Okay, there you go.